If you are migrating data from Pipedrive to HubSpot, this is a massive, massive hack that I want to show you. It's one of my favorite things to do during a migration because migrating data from any CRM to any other CRM is a very, very big project. And especially if you're a large organization, it's very hard to switch. You want the switch to be as brief and as quick as possible. I like to call it just rip the band-aid off and make it, as condensed if you can over a weekend. But sometimes there's a need to stretch out the migration over a week or a couple of weeks. And you want to make sure that your data, all of your data from your old CRM, makes it into your new CRM. So in a previous video, I walked through Pipedrive to HubSpot migration specifically. And in this video, I want to show you after you do what I call the round trip of the IDs and cross-referencing the Pipedrive IDs into HubSpot and then the HubSpot record IDs back into Pipedrive, you can use a really cool, simple make automation using make.com to keep all of your deals in HubSpot up to date. So I'm going to walk through making that make automation right now, and let's dive in. So first, as I said, if you look in our HubSpot, we're doing this just for deals, but keep in mind you could do the same thing for contacts or other things as well. And you'll notice that I've got my deal names, and then I have a Pipedrive deal ID, and I have my HubSpot record ID. So if I go over to Pipedrive, let's say I take this Pipedrive deal ID, I'm going to copy that, and I go into Pipedrive here, go to deals. I'm just going to click on a random deal. If I change this deal to the ID that I just changed, and you can see there it is, Tyler. And if you look over here, Tyler, I have a direct lookup or the ability to look up directly any record that was in my previous or my old CRM in the new one. And that also means that with a simple automation like this in Make, you can use the Pipedrive module for a deal event. And I just said, anytime a deal is updated, I want to run this automation. And so if a deal is updated, I want to first filter, and if HS deal ID exists, then I want to go down this path. So I'm going to say the condition is going to be HS deal ID exists and save. So if HS deal ID exists, which means that, let's say I'm in Tyler and I change something, I put a dollar amount in or something, that would now be modifying this deal. And I want that change to be reflected inside of HubSpot. So I want to go to the HubSpot module here, and I need to connect a new account here. So I'm going to call this a new account. And then you got to do the authorization screen. So click that, and we're going to agree and connect. And now what I like to do is in this, instead of doing all fields, just because it's a ton of stuff to comb through, I like just selectively adding the ones that I want. So for example, the first thing is I need to update a deal. So it's updating the HubSpot deal ID. And let's say I want to update the amount with the amount that was in or I think they called it value. Yeah, with value. And then I want to update let's say, do we have an address field? Job address. And let's go look at our migration data to see which one we would want here. So we have deals. Let's go back to import. I'm importing the deal sheet again that I exported previously. So here's all my raw data from Pipedrive. Okay, so here's all of my Pipedrive deal or information. And let's do freeze. So let's freeze the first row. Okay, and what I'm looking for is job address. So it looks like job address, they're using the full combined address. So I think we want this one. We're going to do the house number and the street road name. into the street field. So let's go back to make, and this one is going to be job site street address, and this is going to be house number space street, and we want to make sure that this one's after house number. I don't know why it's doing that. So let's put in the street. Save. And let's do close date. So expected, we've got expected close date, estimate date. So we're going to update estimate date with estimate date, and let's do close date. And we'll leave it like that for now. So what you can see here is if the deal changes, I want to update the deal in HubSpot with the current information. So I click save. But now the other part of this is, what if a deal is created and I don't have a deal for that? Like there's no HS deal ID. So instead of updating a deal, what I'm going to need to do is create new deal. So create a deal. And this is going to be a router, so it's got to choose. If the HubSpot deal ID exists, then go that way. If it doesn't, we're going to make this the fallback. So if HS deal ID does not exist. And again, because if we don't have a deal ID, then we need to make a deal. And so in this case, we're going to create, and we're going to do the name. So the deal name is going to be, I think they call it title. And then we want to bring in the amount, and that's called value. And what else do we want to do? Do the address again. So street, job site address, and this is going to be house number. There we go. Street, road name. And again, you could do more than that if you want. You could add as many fields as you would like, but you get the idea that now whenever there's something that gets created or updated, we're going to do that. But keep in mind, if we go down this route and we create a deal that previously did not have a HubSpot deal ID, we need to add one more thing here for this, which is update a deal. So because we just made a deal in HubSpot, we now want to go back and do continue. Looks like we're going to add some more permissions to this connection. So continue to the app. All right. So I need to take the deal ID that initiated this entire thing. So that deal ID. And then I want to find the field that is called HS deal ID. And I want to write the ID from the deal that was just created back. So that's how I'm going to, I'm not updating or changing anything. I'm just going and if the deal ID exists, update HubSpot. If it goes down this path, then I want to, or if it doesn't exist, then make the deal and then write the HubSpot deal ID back to Pipedrive. So we're going to go ahead and save this. So save changes, and I'm going to turn this on. And now what we're going to do is go change something and see what happens. So like, for example, this one, let's say that I put in a dollar amount here. So I'm going to do $15 and save. And now we go back in here and look, it already ran and it updated HubSpot, it says. So I go back to HubSpot and let's open up this deal. And there you go, $15. How incredible is that? And so that's the basic setup. Now I want to show you something that's a little more advanced. And that is when you are migrating data, we need to have a sheet that is used for referencing the old like the stage names in one system and converting it to a stage name in a new system. So what we're going to do is, and actually I want to try one other thing before we do that. So I'm going to change this back to 0, save, and once again, there it goes, it ran. Now I'm going to go back to, let's go to all my deals, and I want to see, these are deals that are not in HubSpot. So I'm just going to bulk change these to 1, copy. Oh, I have to do this one by one. And you'll notice that they disappear off the list as soon as I do that. So let's see, what else could I do that would edit the dates? And you can see as I'm just putting in a number here, it's automatically processing these and then adding a HubSpot deal ID. So all of my deals are getting updated and they exist inside of HubSpot now. And I've got one more here. So there we go. There are no deals inside of here that do not have a HubSpot deal ID. So we're up to date there. But now if you'll notice, when inside of here, I'm just putting everything into lead not contacted. So this is the more advanced part of the video. So if this first part was valuable, now we're going to talk about mapping all of the lead or the deal stages that we have in HubSpot to the corresponding stage in Pipedrive. So let me pull up my migration document here. All right, so I have just a document here, and we're going to call this Pipedrive stage name. And then we want to convert that to the HubSpot pipeline and the HubSpot stage. So let's go grab all of our unique stages here. So in the export of all of our deals, what I would do is go over to stage. So I want to grab all of these, copy, and then put them in here, paste. And I want to make a unique list of these values. So unique, and we're going to grab this entire thing. And here are the list of unique stages. So I'm going to paste this right here, paste, and the rest of these I do not need. So we're going to delete all those. And then these. Okay, so now what we have to do is just make sure that we agree on, if I have an estimate scheduled, I want this to go to the sales pipeline in HubSpot, and I want to call it bid scheduled because that's what my HubSpot stage is called. And let's go double check how Make is going to do this. So if I update this, I want to do, we're going to add another one here for pipeline. And if I remember correctly, HubSpot requires the ID of the pipeline. So we actually need to go look in our settings here and then go to objects, deals, pipelines. And we want to look for the sales pipeline, and let's get this one is called, the ID is called default. So I want to actually, let's go back to here. So this is the name and this is the HubSpot pipeline ID. So that's called default. And then this one is the HubSpot stage ID, and bid scheduled we can find is bid scheduled, and this ID is that. So we can map that one to that one. Okay, then the next one, B leads. So this would be marketing pipeline. And we need to find out what is the marketing pipeline ID. So I go look this up, copy. There's the marketing pipeline ID. And we want that to move to, let's move it to lead follow-up 1. So I'm going to copy that. lead, follow-up 1. Okay, the next one, 2025 deals. Not sure what to do with that one, so we're going to say that this is a marketing pipeline, and this would be, we're going to put it into lead not contacted. So it's going to be the same idea as that, and we need to get the lead not contacted ID. Copy, paste it there. A leads would be marketing pipeline. Pending exterior. I think that is sales pipeline. Actually, we're going to say this is marketing pipeline. Copy, paste, and this would be, I'm going to make one here that's called lead pending exterior. Copy. And we're going to do lead pending exterior. And then ready for setup call. I'm guessing that is going to be a marketing pipeline again. And this would be lead follow-up 3. Pending interior. Let's do this. Take home, not sure what that means. To be rescheduled. Sounds like this would be a marketing pipeline. I'm going to put it in lead not contacted. And then we're going to put red zone. Again, put it there. And I'm actually going to add one more here that says we want to update just a field. We're going to call it Pipedrive previous stage. So for Pipedrive stage during migration, we're just going to put that in so it's going to be a text field so we can update if necessary, or just reference that if necessary. So if we go in here and click deal properties, and then we want to add a field that's called Pipedrive stage during migration. And this is just going to be a text field. And then we can put just some data in there if necessary. So now let's go back to here. And because I have the pipeline here, so I'm saying, before we do that, we need to add a step here. And this is going to be a Google Sheet step. So let's do Sheets, and we're going to search row, and we're going to connect this to my account. And the sheet ID that we're going to use is this one. Copy. Like that. Okay, so we're going to need to reconnect this, it looks like. Let's just add a new one here. We're going to call this Chris at Hello Boolean. Sign in with Google. Okay, so that worked. And sheet name. There we go. So Pipedrive, HubSpot stage, lookup. And I want the column contains headers. Yes, the filter is going to be that the Pipedrive stage name is equal to the stage. So we're going to go ahead and do that and hit save. Let's see if we can test this. So we just have stage IDs. So we have to find out what all of the stage IDs are. And that is an interesting question for ChatGPT. So let's go look really quick if it has it in here. So we'll see what this comes up with. So I'm going to copy this and see if this works. We're going to paste that there. Here is the result. Can you clean this up? A simple. All right, and we're getting the output. All right. So I'm copying that. I'm going to go back to my Google Sheet here. There we go. Now I have my stage name, my stage ID, and let's go ahead and move this over. View freeze one row. So we're matching up all these pending exteriors, pending follow-up 1, 2, 3, pending interior, pending quotes, quote in progress, quote scheduled, ready for setup call. Okay, so those are all of them. And now I'm going to go ahead and just put the rest of these into, so like quote in progress would be sales pipeline, bid scheduled, pending quotes, probably be the same thing. One, and we need to find out the deals, pipelines. So my one is all right. So there's a few other ones that need to get filled out here that we don't have. I'm going to go ahead and just put everything into lead not contacted that we haven't filled out. So it stays there and ready for setup. Don't know what that means. Okay, so all these are just going to say whatever was copy, paste. Okay, so I've done that. Now let's go back to make. Almost there, guys. The right here, we're going to look this up. So we want to do the column is going to be, need to refresh this. So let's look. Oh, we did not put a title in here. So we want Pipedrive stage ID. There it is. Pipedrive stage ID is equal to stage ID. There we go. Now I can come over here and do pipeline is we're going to do the lookup, run this only 9. So the pipeline, HubSpot pipeline ID, and then we want the stage deal stage to be the HubSpot pipeline stage ID, and save that. Then down here, we want the same thing. So stage HubSpot stage ID and pipeline. Okay, so we can go ahead and save those changes. And so now it's just going to go in, look up the current stage in Pipedrive, and then update that stage inside of HubSpot so that our stages are in sync. And then if there's other fields that you want to map, like I showed here, you can obviously do that. But that is a nice little hack to keep your Pipedrive and up to date during the migration process. Or sorry, I should say keep your HubSpot up to date based on Pipedrive data during the migration process. Whew, that was a lot. For those of you that are diving deep into stuff like this, migration is one of the hardest parts of the whole like transitioning to a new CRM. And if you don't do the migration correctly, it can absolutely wreak havoc on your business and your people. So it's really, really critical to have a good, solid plan. We do migrations all the time here at Boolean, so don't hesitate to reach out or comment any questions down below. And good luck on your migrating to HubSpot.